Камера, мотор.
Friends, what's up? So we have to talk Tesla today, and I didn't make the Tesla video like 2 days ago because I wanted to, for information, to sleep, as I say, with information, because information comes in layers. I wanted to analyze it without emotions, and right now I'm ready for my Tesla analysis, my friends. So right now, what is happening with Tesla, in my opinion, is the following. I think that, first of all, I am Tesla biased because I hold Tesla. I did like 15x on Tesla. Because now it's about 7x or maybe 6x or 5x. And I think that we are in a perfect storm situation for Tesla. It doesn't mean that we cannot go lower, but it means that I never thought that we would ever go to this level, guys. Never did I think that, because I never thought that we would have a demand problem. Okay? So Elon Musk was on Twitter, and he was speaking about all these different issues. And number one issue that he said is that right now, so basically he puts everything on Federal Reserve increasing share rates, and he's saying that right now there is a perfect storm situation, so the scissors effect basically, which is double, so which is creating this huge problem for Tesla. Not even Tesla, but Tesla stock especially, because what is happening right now is that interest rates are going up, and Musk thinks that inflation, and he thinks that Federal Reserve is acting on lagged data. And if you take the data which is not lagged but the current data, he says that inflation right now, and as you understand, he has the supply chains and things like that, so he's in the real sector, in the real economy. He sees, basically he's saying that right now the inflation is not even, there's not a deflation, meaning that inflation is going down, but there's a deflation basically. Okay, not disinflation, so not the inflation going down, but then a deflation with the inflation already being in the negative zone. Okay, so that's what he's saying, and that creates a perfect storm for Tesla, because not only you have deflation, but you have the rising interest rates. Because usually what happens is that you are in a crisis, and your interest rates, Federal Reserve helps you by by putting the interest rates down. And now he's putting the interest rates up. There's a deflation, and there's the scissors effect that basically just kills Tesla price. Why is he saying? Why is that happening? It's happening because basically two sectors are hit: housing sector and car sector. So you can see the company called Carvana, which does like used cars, which almost, or not almost, it went bankrupt, because you have two sectors which are basically using debt, and as the interest rates go up, the debt to acquire your car or housing goes up, and therefore the price of your car, because of the credit expense which goes up with the interest rates and your housing. Okay, housing and cars is exactly the same thing, because it's a big it's a big payment that you need to make, and usually you take a credit. So credit is completely squeezed, completely killed, and that's why we have this perfect storm for Tesla. So that's what he's saying. After, of course, we can say that Tesla is not a and that's what Elon is saying when he has been asked the question, but why is Mercedes PE 6 and Tesla is PE at the time 70? And Musk said, well, basically, of course, we're the only ones that have the autopilot and the only ones that have the Tesla bot. So right now, I'm not taking into account the Tesla bot because, you know, for me, I don't take it into account. There's no Tesla bot for the time being, okay? At least a working one by itself. So we don't take it into account. And second thing is the autopilot. There's an increasing problem with an autopilot because we or people who paid for the full autopilot don't actually have the autopilot. So they feel, you know, like tricked into buying a full autopilot when in real terms it's not a full autopilot. You have to control it basically, you know. And they are so buyers of this full autopilot, which is not a full autopilot, have to train the machine, you know, to make this autopilot more, you know, going to perfection basically. So people are losing patience with it, and the question is, will people continue paying for this autopilot because they're being fooled basically, you know, because it's not a full autopilot. And the question is also, can Tesla become or make this full autopilot, which will, of course, after make other cars with which are not autonomous, which don't have the full autopilot, are basically obsolete. So that's also the question. Third question is a question about the brand damage caused by Twitter and political views that Elon Musk basically expressed. And when people on the call tell him, but you know, can you slow down on that? He's basically saying, I am not slowing down on anything because I will express my opinions even if it doesn't you know, takes the stock down. So basically he will continue doing what he's doing, giving his political views. I think that he should stop, and he will stop because it's impacting the brand reputation. And you know, a lot of people, or that's at least what I hear, a lot of people are canceling their orders. So you have the perfect storm with the macro, you know, the interest rates raise, with our entering into recession or already being in the recession, and at the same time the Fed not only should decrease rates before making a basically U-turn and before helping the economy, but at least stop the interest rates and lower them. Instead, what he's doing, and that's what Musk thinks. I mean, after you have Katie Woods that thinks the same thing, and you have other economists, Jeremy Stiegel, which you know have been a professor in Wharton University for 40 years, thinks the same thing, that Fed is basically acting on the lagged information, and that's why there is this perfect storm created in the market. And after, you will ask me, but you have Amazon, Google, they also went down, but they didn't went down, or they didn't crash like Tesla crashed. Of course, but don't forget that Tesla is a software company and a car company, meaning that in any case, their business, major business, comes from selling cars for the time being, and some of their business is in selling the autopilot, which of course has a huge margin, But when you have, you know, the car sales which are going down, basically this margin will be hit, and market is predicting that the margins of Tesla will be hit. Therefore, the PE also will be retracted to lower levels because of the margin. And second thing or third thing is the growth of the company, which will be slow. And what Elon Musk told on Twitter just 2 days ago about margins, he said that, or about growth, he said that, you know, it's basics of 101 studies, and he said that if we want to, there's three strategies basically to do. We can either slow down, we can sell less cars with the same margin, we can sell cars, we can lower the margin basically to sell more cars and get more market share, and that's what he is willing to do. I think that's a good strategy, because we have to get we have to think, I think, the following way. If it's going to be difficult for Tesla, for others it's going to be even more difficult. It's like a little bit analogy to American economy. If American economy has a recession, the others, you know, the emerging markets will be in huge crash, in huge crisis and depression. So basically that's my 2 cents on Tesla. So what do I think will happen right now? I think that depending of course on how Elon continues to operate, I think that in terms of Twitter, he said that I had to be on Twitter for at least 1 month to take it out of bankruptcy, and that's what he's doing, you know. That's what he did. Right now, of course, he made a poll, would he stay in Twitter or not. After the poll told him that no, he will step away, I think that he a little bit knew that the poll would react that way. I mean, the numbers were like 53 versus 47%, so it's not huge, you know. But I think that, and Elon also said that Tesla is 10 times more difficult of an animal, of a system, of a company than Twitter is. So he can put someone on Twitter, you know, to be to sell the publicity, and in terms of Tesla, I think that he will continue to do a maximum job in terms of selling as much cars as he can. So after he will, there have been rumors that he will be making a new Gigafactory. So Musk said that he will be announcing a new Gigafactory as well. I think there's two choices. So in the news it was Mexico. I think there will be either in Mexico or either in south of Korea, or maybe first one in Mexico and second one in South Korea. We will see, you know. Which for Mexico, it's a very good, it would be a very good idea to make it there, because you have your labor, which is much less expensive, and you would be 40 kilometers basically away from the Texas Gigafactory, and you could make your parts there and make a cheaper car. So I think, what I really think, and Elon Musk has been asked a question before, you know, about the 25,000 or the Model 2. He doesn't like to call it Model 2, but let's call it Model 2 for the sake of, you know, understanding. For the Model 2, his answer was, but guys, you don't understand the big picture, he said. Yeah. Why make a Model 2 if we're gonna make an autopilot and the car will be autonomous? It won't matter how much you pay for it, 35,000 or 25,000, because it will make you 100,000 of sales every year. That argument is true when you have the fully autonomous car, but for the time being we don't have it, and it's constantly, the date for release of the autopilot is constantly pushed away. Will it come? I think that if it will not come under Musk, it will not come under anyone. You know, I'm sorry for my Tesla bias, but and that's why we have the biggest call options for Tesla, because he is solving the problems that have never been solved. And that's why if he succeeds in solving them, it will be for sure one of the most expensive companies in the world. And he has been saying that as well. So I really think that the most important point in Tesla is for them to make the 25,000 car before the autopilot comes. Because if the autopilot comes in 5 years, they can sell for the time, you know, it takes to build the gigafactory and things like that. They can, because we can already see that with 4 gigafactories, 2 are running 100%, 2 are running at the 25% you know, capacity rate. So when these 4 will be running at the capacity rate, if he has a problem right now with demand, of course we're falling, you know, into a recession, and we have the scissors effect with the deflation and the increasing interest rates. I think that in a, you know, in a bull market, he can have 4 or maybe 5 gigafactories running and selling these Tesla's Model 3 and Y and Cyber at a relatively not high price, relatively low price, at the 55-ish thousand price tag. But I think that if he wants to sell 20 million cars, or even 10 million, I mean, before we come to 20, it's going to be 5, 10, 15. I think that selling from 5 million cars in a bull market, you know, when everything is perfect, sun is shining, and everything is perfect in macro and whatever, you have to have a 25,000 car to sell those from 5 million cars if you don't have the autopilot. Of course, when you will have the autopilot, you can make cars which cost 35, and we don't have the cars that cost 35 now. I mean, we only had it for 1 year in like 3 years before when Model 3 started. But on the real, your Model 3 right now, if you buy it, it will cost you 45 minimum. The base will be 45,000, and we don't know how much margins he's making on that car, you know. So I urge him, I mean, of course he knows what he's doing, but if we want to sell more cars, I think that we should not sell Model 3 and Model Ys with a lower margin. Of course we should do that for 500,000 or 1 million vehicles, but if we want to sell 5 million, 7 million, 10 million, 12 and a half, 15, 17, up to 20 million, we have to make the Model 2. It is absolutely crucial, okay? It has to be a smaller battery pack of a 50 kilowatt or a 35 kilowatt, maybe 25 kilowatt, 35, 45, you know, something like this. And they should cost like 20, 25,000, 30,000, you know? That should be it. With an autopilot, in any case, if you have the autopilot, you can sell it at 20, 30, 40,000 after, if you have it a full autopilot, and you can sell it on the cars. Imagine the number of cars. So basically you have to get people into this, into the Tesla, you know, into the Tesla world, Tesla community, by them buying the car, and then you can charge them once the autopilot is completely full and autonomous. You can sell them the autopilot on a 25 or 30,000 with a huge margin, and that's when you make your money. But getting there, he has to make the Model 2, in my opinion, and ramp the existing, and that's what he's doing, gigafactories, and basically make more gigafactories and make more cheaper cars, Model 2 cars, and that's exactly, I think, what he's going to do in Mexico. So that's my 2 cents, guys. Tell me what you think in comments, and see you.